Welcome to the Gavel. I am Terry Ikumi. The budget defense process is almost complete. Committees have just about wrapped up their submissions to the appropriations committees of both chambers. The National Assembly seems to be on course to pass the budget in a couple of weeks and maintain the January to December budget cycle. Now, this past week under review was sort of light for lawmakers, especially in the Senate. The Senate sat for 2 days while the House maintained its usual 3-day sitting. And to every broadcaster, hear this. A bill to regulate the practice of the broadcasting profession in Nigeria has scaled second reading in the House of Representatives. The bill, sponsored by Representative Olaifa Aremu, seeks to establish a Broadcasting Practitioners Council that shall be responsible for regulating and controlling the conduct of the practice of broadcast journalism, as well as conduct examinations in the profession and award certificates or diplomas to successful candidates. Now, according to the bill, a person shall be qualified to practice as a broadcaster or be identified as one only if they've acquired or attained the prescribed academic or standard of training set by the Council and have been certified and registered to practice as a broadcaster by the Council, or if prior to the commencement of the Act have acquired requisite practical knowledge, training or experience in a recognized academic institution or broadcasting station, which shall then entitle the Council upon verification to certify that person as a broadcaster and register them to continue to practice as such. The bill will now be subjected to a public hearing. Here's more on plenary in this past week. When Parliament resumed plenary on Tuesday, lawmakers delved straight into what is perhaps the most talked about issue since this 9th Assembly: security. Senator Rochas Okorocha drew the attention of the Senate to what he described as worsening security situation in Imo State.
I'm here to speak on the insecurity and daily killings in Imo State, particularly Olu Zone, where I represent. Mr. President, day in and day out, there's no day that passes in the state without one ugly story of kidnapping, killing, maiming, burning of innocent homes, shops on daily basis. Mr. Senate President, a few weeks ago, it was the killing of traditional rulers. The other day, it was killing of a policeman, and a few days ago, it was killing of an army man.
This Senate, and indeed the entire National Assembly, has been very consistent in trying to find some kind of solution, more permanent solution to ending the security situation in the country. And of course, we'll continue to do so, and I agree that we need to diversify our means of getting the solution to the numerous myriads of security challenges across the country.
I so second.
In the House of Representatives, an urgent motion on the need to look into cases of unresolved kidnap was considered, using the Southeast as reference.
The House notes that there have been a lot of cases of missing persons in the Southeast and in Anambra State in particular. The House further notes that among other crimes recorded during the said period was the kidnap of one Mr. Obiora Abasimelo, the candidate of Labour Party for the just concluded Anambra governorship election. He was kidnapped on the 18th of September 2021 in Anambra State. Up to now, his whereabouts has not been known. The House observed also that there are about 5 engineers working with Milan Consultants in Efium, Ebonyi State, that were also kidnapped since 3rd November 2021, and nothing has been had till date.
Those in favor of the motion say aye.
The House resolved to urge security agencies to quickly get to the root of the unresolved cases across the country and mandated its relevant committees to work with the security agencies and report back in 6 weeks. During Wednesday's plenary, the worsening security situation in the country was once again raised, following the attack on motorists by bandits on Sunday, which led to the death of a former governorship aspirant and the kidnap of others. The lawmakers are disturbed that the situation isn't getting any better, despite huge amounts allocated to security.
It will interest you to know that, Mr. Speaker, even the head of security agencies
some of the top military personnel, generals, cannot move freely from Abuja to Kaduna, even with their escorts and high level of military attachments to them. Mr. Speaker, not even talk of the less privileged Nigerians. So it is high time, Mr. Speaker, the House needs to move to order the security agencies taking on attack consistently, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. I think it's something that the security agency needs to do something about it.
In 2020, Honorable Speaker, a case was made for security, and a lot of money was also budgeted for. The question the honorable colleagues raise is not only on Sunday, it's on daily basis. On daily basis. Many lives have been lost, unannounced. Unannounced. Because a prominent politician has been killed. It became a national issue. Every life is very important. Mr. Speaker, distinguished honorable colleagues, we have a committee of the House, both on army, both on defense, both on police. We should mandate that committee to be giving us briefing every month. Today, we're interrogating issues as regard budget. And if you estray 2022 budget, you will agree with me with no doubt that chunk of the money is security. Even when Nigerians can hardly feed. Mr. Speaker, let us clean our own house first. Let them give us reports on a monthly basis. Let it be one of the resolutions.
Away from security, the House of Representatives is to investigate the 774,000 Special Public Works Program, which is a youth empowerment scheme of the federal government. This followed a motion raised by Representative Udaji Kazauri.
I went to the office of the SSA, why this program, because it's a laudable achievement, why it's not implemented. He told me this issue is only House will intervene because he don't know why there is no funding after presidential has approved this laudable achievement program. So that is why we want to invite the SSA to come to explain to the House why this program is not implemented.
Earlier this month, the Minister of State for Labor had informed the Senate that 7.3 billion naira was yet to be released by the federal government for payment of beneficiaries of the program. The House is to also consider capturing the program in the 2022 budget. Also during Wednesday's plenary, lawmakers rejected a bill which would allow citizens sue the government for failing to provide basic amenities. While members spoke for and against, when it was eventually put to vote, lawmakers voted against the bill.
Mr. Speaker, the fundamental objectives and directive principles of state policy as enshrined in Chapter 2 of the Constitution are further broken down really in sections 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, and 21. They are the basic things of life that the government should provide for its citizens. But section 6, sub 6C has taken away the powers of the court to do anything to this. So, Mr. Speaker, what this bill is basically saying is that it should be amended. That's the long and short of it. It should be amended so that people can take the government up when they fail to deliver on some of these basic objectives to the society.
This government has been giving all kinds of loans and grants to people because of the COVID pandemic. Should you then allow people to sue if they don't get that kind of money? You will collapse the system. That kind of process can never work. It has never been tried anywhere in the world. Even in the US, where he used as an example, you are not empowered to sue the government for not giving you freebies. I call them free because it's free. You don't work for it. You cannot sue.
What's the essence of governance? To provide shelter, security, and food to its citizens. That's the essence of governance. And that's why those who advocated for democracy say it's the government of the people, by the people, and for the what? The people. We have aspired to defend our people by making sure we have a voice and our voice be heard. That's why we are here. And constantly 360 of us are making our voice heard, clearly and soundly. Mr. Speaker, distinguished honorable colleagues, let's try this road first.
Those in favor of the motion of the amendment say aye. Against any. The ayes have it.
Meanwhile, lawmakers in the Green Chamber on Thursday were worried about the rising cases of drug abuse in the country, especially methamphetamine.
Further notes, the highly addictive street form of the pharma-grade amphetamine and the ill-equipped handling or stopping of the spread. Concerned that many homes in the southeast are currently facing the dangers and the effects of methamphetamine, nicknamed Mpuru Mmiri, which translates to seed of water. Aware that crystal meth is a crystal narcotic hallucinogen that is capable of destroying a person's mentality.
It does sound like a joke, but it's not a joke. It's actually very serious. It's actually killing a lot of people. And when I went home, I told them, in like 5-10 years' time, if we don't stop it, we're going to have a zombie society, Mr. Speaker. Because at least in my constituency, you will find 11, 12-year-olds taking this meth. I mean, so really, what kind of future are we expecting these young ones to have? So we're definitely going to have doped-up society, zombie society. That's not good for us.
Mr. Speaker, I'm moving this amendment mindful of the practice in other jurisdictions and the fact that most of these drugs are things that are sold over the counter without monitor and could be weaponized. So I will amend, I will put an additional prayer that the Ministry of Health should provide a clear policy on prescription drugs, as well as a policy on sale of drugs across the counter, and ensure its implementation. And the House Committee on Health should ensure compliance.
In the meantime, the House has passed through second reading a bill for an act to establish a federal polytechnic in Ayete, Oyo State. Subsequently, the bill, which is sponsored by Representative Ajibola Muraino, was referred to the Committee on Tertiary Education for further legislative action. It was a light week in the Senate. The upper chamber has passed through second reading a bill which provides for the prohibition of manufacturing, production, possession and distribution of counterfeit goods in Nigeria. The bill, which is sponsored by Senator Ebikunle Amusun, also provides for criminal investigation into counterfeiting and seeks to make prosecution of the crime less cumbersome to provide effective control of counterfeit goods in the country.
Most road accidents in the country have been traced to counterfeit automobile parts like fake and counterfeited brake pads, discs, tires, batteries, etc., while many household goods like television sets, electrical and electronic gadgets, electronic cables, light bulbs, etc. are also being counterfeited on a daily basis, a development that this bill seeks to curtail. The Counterfeit Bill 2021 also seeks to introduce measures to further protect owners of trademark against counterfeit of their goods, protect consumers from dangerous counterfeit goods, and ensure that appropriate revenue accrues to government from trademark owners of goods.
Welcome back to the Gavel. The Kaduna State Caucus of the House of Representatives has reacted to the security threats along Abuja-Kaduna Highway. The caucus is calling on security agencies to urgently collaborate to put an end to the nefarious and despicable activities of criminals and secure the Abuja-Kaduna Highway and all such other highways by deploying the personnel and material resources as well as intelligence necessary to accomplish the same. Now, the lawmakers are also appealing for patience and understanding of members of the public in what they describe as undoubtedly trying moments, while urgent measures are taken to resolve the problem. Moving on, here's a report of other activities of lawmakers at the committee level.
The Northeast Development Commission met with the Northeast Caucus of the National Assembly during the week to get their inputs into the Northeast Stabilization and Development Master Plan project.
From level 0.
The chairman of the Northeast Caucus of the National Assembly, Senator Danjuma Guje, said the interaction is to enable the caucus receive briefing from the commission on its activities and also allow members of the caucus to make required inputs.
This is going to give us an opportunity to have a first-hand information and first-hand briefing from the commission since its establishment. It will also give us an opportunity to ask questions on all issues pertaining to the activities of the commission. Not only to be briefed, but also give us an opportunity to ask questions on the activities of the commission. Not only to ask questions, but also to make inputs on how we feel the commission will perform better for the development of our zone.
Speaking during the meeting, the managing director of the NEDC, Mr. Mohammed Alkali, said there are still funds needed to build the Northeast based on their 10 years master plan. Presently, the NEDC is getting 3% from value-added tax and ecological funds, but the Commission says the funds is not enough to develop the area. The NEDC received a total budgetary allocation of 46.1 billion naira in the 2021 budget.
Once the master plan is finally approved as a document, it will contain a comprehensive roadmap for recovery, reconstruction, stabilization, peace building, and sustainable development of the Northeast. It is also going to be one-stop shop for all intervention by all the stakeholders in the zone.
I know the Commission has a lot of challenges enforcing the provisions of the Act establishing it, especially as it concerns access to the value-added tax share of the Commission, and then even access to ecological fund that the Commission is supposed to get money to execute its mandate.
The Senate Committee on Local Content is given a deadline of December 2nd to the major players of the NLNG Train 7 project to appear before it and answer petitions on breach of local content laws or risk a public investigative hearing. The $10 billion Train 7 project is operated by the Nigeria Liquefied Natural Gas (NLNG) and is aimed at boosting Nigeria's liquefied natural gas output by 35%.
The four culprits in today's case, the operators of the project, the Nigeria Liquefied Natural Gas, the promoters, that is SAIPEN and DEU, and the regulator, NCDMB, are all supposed to be here with us because in line with our constitutional provision, even if somebody is charged with an accusation, he has to be heard. And we give them this privilege to appear before this committee for us to understand exactly what is going on. And all four of them, surreptitiously, or I don't know how to even put it, find one reason or the other not to honor our invitation.
Similarly, the House Committee on Local Content continued its investigation on possible violation of the Nigerian content and cabotage laws from contracts awarded by the NNPC to non-Nigerian ship owners.
Before wrapping up our investigative hearing, it was important that we also hear from the Ministry of Transport or its agencies on what the issues are bordering this petition.
the National Assembly don't appropriate too much money for us. The actual money for Maritime goes to those agencies. So they are mostly held accountable on the implementation of the laws passed by the National Assembly as it affects Maritime. So I would gladly say to you that I'll be excused. There's a permanent secretary here, but the DG will then speak because that's his area. If there is a need to request my reappearance for the committee, I'll be glad to reappear.
We, as NIMASA, we process waivers where there are shortfalls because sometimes the kind of vessels that may be needed for moving these products may not readily be available in country. Therefore, if there's any vessel that is not a Nigerian flagged vessel, that is a foreign vessel that has to come in to perform that particular act, will have to be granted a waiver, which will be processed by NIMASA and then passed on to the Honorable Minister of Transportation for approval.
Would want NNPC to submit documentary evidence of waivers gotten from the Ministry of Transport or NIMASA, actual waivers empowering them to award those contracts to the foreign companies.
On Wednesday, the House of Representatives Ad Hoc Committee on Real Estate is threatening that names of real estate developers will be sent to law enforcement agencies for further investigation and their sites will be sealed for repeatedly refusing to honor its invitation. The committee is investigating petitions of fraud against real estate developers in the Federal Capital Territory.
The committee has decided the following: to direct FCDA AGs to review and authenticate land allocation, particularly those with complaints of infractions without known addresses. To direct Federal Mortgage Bank to submit financial transactions with such developers, if any. We hereby sound a note of caution that names of such developers will be sent to relevant law enforcement agencies for further investigation. Failure of these developers to attend the House investigative hearing and submit the necessary documents as required could result to sealing their sites.
By Thursday, the committee received some real estate developers and resolved to issue a bench warrant for one of them who has repeatedly failed to appear before it.
We have invited him severally, and he has refused to honor our invitation. We would issue a bench warrant to Supernatural Shelter.
There was a special interaction with one of the estate developers whose property has been constantly affected by floods, resulting in loss of lives.
Even the more recently, the flooding in September, it took more than 7 lives in Trademore.
What did you do? What measures did you take to ensure that such things doesn't happen anymore? That is recklessness and carelessness coming from your end.
What happened wasn't man-made. What happened was not our
It's
import.
a natural disaster. That's why we asked him.
I mean, it's just unfortunate that it has come to happen. Then what do we do? To the best of our knowledge, we did try our best. Even as at this moment, which is still ongoing, we are still consulting. We've taken a real view of the place at the flood direction and trying to get
Maybe
experts.
you built on a waterway or something.
Yes. I mean,
who allocated that land? You got your allocation from FCDA?
Say that again.
Did you get your allocation from FCDA or you got it from area council like others will say?
Well, it's the area council.
Area council?
Yes.
And that is what we keep talking about.
And that's the Gavel this week. Thanks for watching. Do send feedback to the Gavel at channelstv.com. I'm Terry Ikumi. Goodbye.